In order to graph this function, I first want to graph the front part. I call it the parent function. And then this 3 and negative 6 are going to do some shifting for me. So let's start with the equation y equals 10 1/5 to the x power. And I'm going to use this table for this function. What this function is telling me to do is I'm going to start with 10 and I'm going to divide by 5 repeatedly. Multiplying by 1/5 is the same as dividing by 5. So I start with 10 and divide by 5 repeatedly. So if I'm going to divide by 5 0 times, well, that would just be 10. If I'm going to divide by 5 once, so what's 10 divided by 5 once? Well, that should be 2. If I keep going, I keep dividing by 5. Now, to get up to -1, that's a little bit more confusing, but watch this. If I divided by 5 down, do you notice I multiplied by 5 up? So can I multiply by 5 again to go this way? So what's 10 times 5? Well, that will give me that value. 10 times 5 is 50. Now we're going to graph this green graph. I'm going to graph it over here. So negative 150 would not fit. Let's just do 0, 10, and 1, 2. So let's do 0, 10. That's right there. And 1, 2, be careful, we're going by 2's here. 1, 2 looks like it's right there. And what I should realize is my graph will look something like that. That right there, the little green, is my exponential decay graph for just this. Then this 3, negative 6 is going to do some shifting. Alright, so what you have to remember is this is like your HK. This is your left-right shift. And you always go the opposite direction on an H. So the opposite of 3 would be negative 3. So the negative direction of 3 would be this way, 3. So we're going to go 3 to the left. So we're going to go left 3 units. And this negative 6 is your vertical, your K change. So you're going to go down 6. You don't change this one, you only change the H. So it's going to be down 6. Now what does all that mean? Well, we're going to take each of these two coordinates and move them left 3 and down 6. So here we go. We're going to take this point, we're going to go left 3, so we're going to go left 3 to right there. And then we're going to go down 6. So to down 6, looks like right there. Cool. And then this one, this point right here, we're also going to go left 3 and down 6. So let's do that. We're going to go from this point, we're going to go left 3 and down 6. And there it is. Now it's a little confusing. There's one thing that's missing. Is what you have to remember is there is an asymptote right here on this red x-axis. See how this green line gets closer and closer to it but never crossed? So I need to rewrite that asymptote right there. So the asymptote also gets shifted left 3 and down 6. Now I can't shift that asymptote left, but I can move it down 6. So I'm going to move that red axis of symmetry down 6 to make this dotted line. You'll see here in a second. It'll make a lot more sense. So I'm going to move that. It's called the axis of symmetry. I'm going to put that right there. And what's going to happen is my graph now is going to go through this and like that. Not a very pretty graph, but if you look at it, see how these both have kind of the same curvature? Okay, it just got shifted. And that blue line right there is my new asymptote, my new kind of like axis of symmetry that your line gets closer to and never crosses. So that red piece would be my new graph for this. Again, my asymptote, horizontal asymptote, is -6. And the red is my graph of this here function.